the studies that would be required, are they incorporated into 6 million development costs?
Yep, so the cost is all part of
They
the
are
6.2
included.
million.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
A lot of information to understand and gives us the basis to move forward with. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Michelle. At this time, we have a prepared motion that the presentation by G.L. Richards regarding the Water Service Master Plan be received, and further that the Water Services Master Plan be approved in principle. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? I don't know who went first. I'll say Larry. Moved by Larry, seconded by John. Any follow-up questions? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 8.1 on our agenda. The application regarding rezoning on Ferguson Road. And that we need to move into a public meeting. And the motion to do that reads that council move into a public meeting under section 34 of the Planning Act at 1:21 p.m. on April 21st, 2026. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Mark, seconded by Bruce. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Jennifer, are you going to walk us through the application report, please?
Certainly, through you, Mayor Jibb. This is zoning bylaw amendment application 0226 by Vasil Pedjanovsky and Catherine Cook. It pertains to a property located at 3233 Ferguson Road in part of Lot 12, Concession 4. The application is required as a condition of consent applications B1025 and B1125, which were conditionally approved by the Committee of Adjustment on December 9th of 2025. Those applications conditionally created 2 new vacant 0.69 hectare rural residential lots with a 31.62 hectare retained parcel. During the review of the consent applications, it was determined that the applications and this application also, they're consistent with the provincial planning statement, which allows for limited lot or locally appropriate lot creation in rural areas of the municipality. The PPS or provincial planning statement also requires the protection of natural heritage and hazard features. An environmental impact study was undertaken in support of the planning application, which contained the EIS or environmental impact study, contained a number of recommendations, including a buffer around a wooded, significant woodland feature on the property. And they also identified some small wetland inclusion, I believe they called it. It was determined that with the rezoning of that environmental buffer, the applications would be consistent with the provincial planning statement. We also had to look at compliance with the minimum distance separation guidelines, and the proposed severed lots are located sufficiently far away from neighboring livestock facilities. So the application is consistent with consistent with the provincial planning statement. And the property is not located in the Oak Ridges Moraine, so the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan does not come into effect. The property is designated rural areas in the county official plan. The county official plan permits lot creation in accordance with the Lower Tier or Hamilton Township's official plan. The consent applications were reviewed with the criteria for lot creation contained in our official plan, and at that time it was determined that the lots were permitted under the policies of the official plan, which permit a maximum of 3 residential severances from a parcel as it existed on October 21st, 2003, and this is for lands in the rural designation. So the property is zoned marginal agriculture, and the marginal agriculture zone permits a single detached dwelling on a property with a minimum lot area of 2 hectares and 60 meters of frontage. The two conditionally approved 0.69 hectare severed lots do not comply with those zone requirements and have to be zoned to the rural residential zone, which permits a single detached dwelling on a lot with a minimum lot area of 0.4 hectares and 45 meters of frontage. Both of the proposed severed lots will meet those zone standards, and the retained lot will comply with the marginal agriculture zone provisions. So the recommendation is that the proposed severed lots be rezoned to the rural residential zone and the environmental buffer as identified in the environmental impact study be rezoned to the environmental protection wetland zone. And I'm going to say that this is an unusual term for the zone that we're going to be rezoning it to, because it's an environmental area. But our zoning bylaw right now does not contain a just generic environmental protection zone. We have an environmental protection wetland zone. So while there are no wetlands on these environmental lands, we're still going to zone it to the environmental protection zone. I will suggest that the zoning bylaw is going to be amended in the not too distant future to include just a blanket environmental protection zone. And then if usually you have an environmental protection zone and that zone is used to protect wetlands also. And there's also a provincially significant wetlands zone that rezones or zones the larger provincially significant wetlands that we have in our municipality. So I think it's just really a wording thing that we need to deal with here, but it's an environmental zone protection zone that will protect the environmental buffer to ensure that there's no development within that area. And that's what we want to do. So we're just going to ignore the name of it for now, and we're going to use the feature, the regulations that zone has, because they're the regulations that we need, and we're going to place that buffer in the environmental protection zone. So the recommendation is that the application be approved. I will say that the application was circulated to all registered landowners within the property, within 120 meters of the property on April 1st, and a sign was posted on March 27th. And to date, I have not received any public comments on that. The application was also underwent a agency circulation, and there were no objections. Alderville First Nation did provide comments that significant portions of the site exhibit high archaeological potential due to their proximity to a tributary watercourse and associated drainage features. The requirement for an archaeology study was included as a condition of consent, which means that the consents cannot be finalized until that archaeology study has been completed and deposited with the province. So that's why we're not putting this in a holding zone pending completion of an archaeology report or anything like that. There were no other objections or significant comments raised during the agency circulation. So the recommendation is that the property be conditionally approved severed lots be rezoned to the rural residential zone, and the environmental buffer be provided as illustrated on the attachment A to the report. And I will note that the applicant is here.
Thank you, Jennifer. And to our applicant, good afternoon. I'll come back to you in a minute. We'll go to the other part of the audience. Is there anyone other than the applicant here with us that is in support of this application? Is there anyone here in the audience that is opposed to the application? Is there anyone here seeking clarification on the application? Seeing none, I'll come back to the applicant. Would you like me to move forward with committee questions, or would you like to speak to the application at this point in time? Very well. To my committee members, any questions for staff or applicant? Seeing none, I thank you. We shall now move motion to rise from a public meeting and reconvene to regular council. That motion reads that council rise from a public meeting under section 34 of the Planning Act and reconvene to a regular meeting of council at 1:30 p.m. on April 21st, 2026. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by John, second by Bruce. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Coming right back to the same application we dealt with in open, or in public rather. We have a bylaw before us, being bylaw 2026-14, being a zoning bylaw amendment 0226, for property 0226 3323 Ferguson Road. Motion reads that bylaw 2026-14, being a bylaw to approve zoning bylaw amendment 0226, be given first, second, and third reading, and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and seconder, please. Moved by John, second by Mark. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 10 on our agenda, council meeting minutes. Prepared motion reads that the minutes of the March 17th, 2026 council meeting be adopted. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Bruce, second by Larry. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. There is no business under item 11, being business arising from those previous minutes. Committee reports 12.1 is dealing with agenda items 12.2 to 12.6. Prepared motion reads that the agenda items 12.2 to 12.6 of the April 21st, 2026 council meeting agenda be received for information. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Mark, second by Larry. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Would anyone like to pull any items here? Seeing none? Oh, yes. 12.6, Heritage Advisory Committee. Prepared motion. That the following recommendation passed by the Heritage Advisory Committee at their April 9th meeting be approved. And that motion reads further that the Heritage Advisory Committee recommends that the council does not pursue designation of the Sackville Bridge under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act as the completed heritage evaluation report determined that the bridge does not meet the criteria for cultural heritage value or interest required for designation, and that council acknowledges the bridge was reviewed through the environmental assessment process and received a low heritage score, and that the replacement or removal is being considered due to the high cost of repairs and lack of a sustainable long-term solution, with commemorative measures such as a plaque or salvaged elements to be considered where feasible. Could I have a mover and a seconder to get this on the floor, please? Moved by Larry, second by John. Any questions or comments? I do have one, if it's okay to proceed. And it simply is that this is one of a few bowstring bridges in Ontario. Certainly the only one that's known of in this municipality. And I'll turn to staff, being Lucas, in case I'm speaking incorrectly. But the committee, the Heritage Committee, thought that something to recognize the fact that it's one of the last bowstring bridges in this area might be appropriate, whether it be a landscape feature, salvaging a portion of the bowstring, possibly a plaque, a picture or two, those types of things. And there's simply nothing more than discussion points at the committee, other than the fact of the motion that you see and I've just read. It would be nice to recognize that and have it recognized in future years. And I simply say that and And I'll turn it over to my fellow council members for questions, comments, and then I'll turn it over to staff if in fact I've said anything incorrect. John?
Yeah, just through you, as you're the committee, is the Bow Bridge ever considered as a walkway? Down and use it as a walk, same as they did on, I believe it was Warren area?
I'm actually going to deflect that to
Oh, okay.
our staff, being Lucas. If you would, please, Lucas.
So good afternoon, council, and through you, Mayor Jib. That will definitely be something that we can consider as we start through the finalizing the environmental assessment. Multiple different agencies have to be involved. There will be public meetings through the process, but this is just one step of the whole EA process. But if it is something that the intention is to leave it as a pedestrian, there's going to be meetings with adjacent landowners, replacement costs. So we can definitely take that into consideration, and it will be part of the, I guess, review of the scope of work in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? I need a bit of help with this thought. It may not be known to everyone, but we're on video, so I'd like to share it. This bridge was the area that the chap passed on that wrote "What a Friend We Have in Jesus." And I'm stuck for a name this very minute. Joseph Scriven, yes. Under the microphone, there was a reference to Port Hope, but the actual monument is still in Hamilton Township. Thank you, Brian. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Okay, moving on to section 13, our agenda, Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. And the prepared motion is the council receives report Public Works and Infrastructure 2026-06 Community Emergency Preparedness Grant 2025-26 for information, and that council approves $16,000 to be funded to Community Emergency Preparedness Grant 2025-2026 to fund the purchasing of 2 mobile emergency road closed trailers. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by John, seconded by Larry. Any questions or comments? John?
I did also hear these road trailers. The only question that I had given to me was, were all avenues?
Yes, the staff did review all the options, considered different solutions. There's a number of municipalities in the area that have these, and we are fortunate enough to be successful in these purchase, and they will definitely be utilized, especially when the 401 gets closed or even during road construction. They'll be used, they'll be able to change the signage, but they will definitely be, that was the best solution, best option.
Thank you. You're there purchase. That's an important thing. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anything follow up, John? Okay, it's been moved, been seconded. All those in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. 13.2 on our agenda regarding a tender. And prepared motion reads that council receives report Public Works and Infrastructure 2026-05, tender number 2026-02 for the Hercock Road reconstruction. And the council approves an additional $70,000 for the Hercock Road reconstruction to be funded from the Canada Community Building Fund, and the council authorizes the mayor and treasurer to award the tender number Public Works 2026-02 Hercock Road reconstruction with a value of $633,734.92 plus the HST to DeKaiser Excavating Limited and that a bylaw be approved to authorize the mayor and treasurer to sign and execute the contract with the Kaiser Excavating Limited. Mover and seconder? Moved by Bruce, seconded by John. Any questions or comments? John?
Yeah, just a, I feel that this would probably be our future cost because of the so-called material increasing and also the transportation. So I think I have to sharpen our pencils a bit, I believe.
I would think everyone in the room would agree with you, John. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. 16.1 on our agenda. Sorry, 15.1 on our agenda. It is CD 2026-05 in respect to the use of corporate resources during an election policy. Prepared motion reads, the council receives report CD 2026-05. Use of the corporate resources during an election policy for information that the council approves. Policy CSD 2026-01. Use of corporate resources during an election policy to establish the rules and procedures governing the use of municipal resources during the 2026 municipal election campaign period, and further, that all previous versions of the use of corporate resources during an election policy are hereby rescinded. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Larry, second by Mark. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you. (15.2) regarding a reserve and reserve funds transfers. Motion reads, the council receives report T 2026-05, being the 2025 reserve and reserve funds transfers for information, and the council authorizes the treasurer to transfer fund to or from reserves and reserve funds as part of the 2025 year-end audit. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Larry, seconded by John. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 15.3, procedural bylaw update. Motion reads, the council receives report CD 2026-04, 2026 procedural bylaw update for information, and that a notice of intention to pass bylaw 2026-12, being the 2026 procedural bylaw, to be published on the township website for a period of 14 days in accordance with bylaw 2017-57, being the provision for notice policy, and that bylaw 2026-12 be presented to council on May 19th, 2026 for final passage. Moving to seconder, moved by Larry, seconded by Mark. Questions or comments? Larry, please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just a comment. I was glad to see in the procedural bylaw that we're allowed to have workshops without going to closed session. That's a big change for us because it stymied us a lot of times to call a special meeting or a special council meeting when going to a workshop. And I think it's more important for us to learn new things. And in these workshops, that's the ability to gain information and share information as we learn more about the changes that are in front of us. So I appreciate the clerk's ability to bring that to the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 16.1, bylaw enforcement. Prepared motion reads, the council receives report BLW 2026-01, bylaw enforcement, administrative monetary penalty system, short form AMPS, and that bylaw 2026-17 and 2026-18 be brought forward for approval, and that bylaws 2026-19 and 2026-20 be brought forward for approval to replace bylaws 2017-13 and 2019-34 as amended. Moving to seconder, please. Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Any questions or comments? John?
Just a comment through you, just the monetary penalty system, it's part of the background, as you're aware. I believe that this system, sure, down a lot of court costs. It's something we can do internally, which I find very, very promising. So thank you very much for that report.
Thank you, John. Brian?
If I could just add on to that note, I just wanted to commend staff for bringing this forward. Absolutely, Councillor Davison's right. This does cut down on a lot of court costs and creates a more efficient system within the township. There are few municipalities our size proceeding with an AMPS bylaw to this degree. So I just needed to commend staff for bringing that forward and modernizing our enforcement services.
Thank you, Brian. And I see Jason's with us this afternoon to ensure we got this done. Thank you all. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Carried, thank you. Could I trouble one of our staff at the back to maybe find me a bottle of water, please? Thank you. Okay, I've lost track of my notes here. We're under 17 communications. 17.1, which is that the agenda items of 17.2 to 17.7 on the April 21st, 2026 council meeting agenda be received. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Any questions or comments? And we can pull in a minute if you wish. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, anyone who wish to pull anything on this list? Bruce, please.
Through you, Mayor Jim. So I read the letter that we received about Aldo, and they were asking that they were sending that letter to Senate because Senate has to approve the bill that allows the Aldo rail to go forward. And I just wondered, assuming that nothing has gone from this township, I wondered if we should. I feel we should maybe just make a comment about this Aldo high-speed rail. I think there's a lot of reasons why it should be opposed, but I'm not sure opposing it. It's hardly at the stage, I think, where it should be opposed, but I think it might just be worthwhile making a comment. And I think the comment would simply be that the proposed number that they're talking about is $90 billion. Anybody that's a bit in the know seems to think that that's the figure somebody's pulled out of the air and that won't touch it. It could be twice that much. I think there would be a lot of places that the government could spend $90+ billion that might do a lot more people in the country good than a rail that goes from Toronto to Montreal, maybe, if it gets that far. I just feel that I know if it was to go, it's going to split a lot of agriculture communities, which I think is very detrimental. And I just not sure that the cost of that is going to solve a lot of the problems that they're suggesting as being congestion on 401. And like the proposal is that that people, that they're proposing that 75,000 people a day will use this rail. That's what's supposed to make it feasible. 75,000 a day. I can't imagine there's 75,000 people wanting to travel even at some point in the future from Toronto to Montreal. So anyway, I think we just, I guess I thought maybe that we should send a comment. I think the comment period for this first phase is up on Friday, so it would need to be done fairly soon, and it doesn't need to be elaborate. I think we just maybe, if the comment could just say that, I know that the Northumberland Federation of Agriculture is really, they've sent 2 letters about it, and they've attended meetings, and they had a speaker come and spoke at a meeting back in March, and actually 2 people who are commissioned to investigate the feasibility and get feedback is what they were doing really. That was $3 million that they spent on just that part of the process, getting feedback. And there was a room full of people who were very, very upset with the amount of money that was talked about being spent, and some of the questions that they had, they really couldn't seem to even answer. So there's an awful lot of it up in the air, and I think it might not, I would certainly recommend that maybe we just send a letter from this township saying, expressing our concerns, and that maybe that amount of money could be spent to better use.
Thank you, Bruce, and I'll buy into exactly what you've been saying. Recently at the county, there was a letter sent forward, and it dealt with the fracturing of farmland, the minimal number of stops proposed at this point in time, and the safety aspect of that speed of a train going through the towns, countrysides. And then there was the concern of where it crosses streams, bridges, existing infrastructure, what it does to that. And I don't know whether it would have been perceived yet or not, but the intent at the county level was to forward their response to this to all lower tiers. And I think, Bruce, we're right on topic. We need to address it. So maybe to lead a little bit, I'll say that we could entertain a motion that we ask staff to review and send forward a letter of concern to the appropriate bodies outlining safety, speed, costs, infrastructure, farmland, those types of things. And Bruce, unless there's another bit of discussion from anybody, Bruce, can I turn to you to make that motion,
Sure,
please?
I make that motion. Yes.
John, you're going to second that? Any further questions or comments? And Mark, please.
I think most of the concerns are outlined in the letter that's being addressed to the senator. Could we not just support this letter? Because I mean, it almost everything that's been said here has been addressed within that letter, being agriculture, infrastructure, tourism, you name it, it's in that letter. So I mean, if we support this letter that goes towards to the senators, I mean, would that not be suffice to do what we're hoping to achieve?
My position on that is it may very well be. I would like, my thoughts are, and I'll leave it with staff, but my thoughts are that we don't just say we support that motion, but actually we make it a letter of our own. I believe that has potentially a little more impact than if we just support somebody else's letter. And I will simply leave that with staff, if it's okay. A, with staff, and B, with us as council.
Did this go to do we know what the Eastern Wardens Caucus has done with this proposal? Have they took a stand?
To my knowledge, yes. And they did, and it's basically identical all the way through. Any further questions? Are staff okay with leaving that a little bit open as far as direction is concerned?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we're comfortable with that, assuming that we're not exactly taking a strong position one way or another on the proposed project. We're simply raising concerns with the process and our understanding of the costs, sort of in line with the letter we've got from Rideau Lakes. Is that the correct assumption there?
I think you're absolutely correct. And in fact, I can go back to the county. The position of the county was the same. And even throwing out a suggestion that maybe there's a better location. And the 401 corridor was discussed. So it's not a letter of total opposition, but a letter of concern is how I would phrase it. Thank you. Okay, so we got a mover and a seconder on that. Did we get a vote saying that we forward that letter of? Oh. Okay, we got a mover and a seconder already. So we just need a vote of support. I'm distracted by whatever's going on outside. I hope it's not coming in here. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, to staff, do we need to pull 17.7 with a specific motion? Oh, sorry, Larry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull 17.2 and 17.7. On 17.2, I'd like to make a motion to congratulate Nezrat and her team, Nezrat Aman and her team, on being awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation from the Government Finance Officers Association. This is an extremely prestigious award, and I think this is the third or fourth time that we've received this award. And again, outstanding. And I think the community or the residents of the township and surrounding areas will agree. It was a pretty spectacular presentation of our budget, completely open and answered all the questions that anyone would have. So again, congratulations. That's my motion on that.
A motion of congratulations is what you're saying, Larry?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, been moved and second, note of congratulations. Well, I was going to speak to it before we got there. This is not going to be the full extent of the recognition of our staff of this award. And I just want to leave it at that. There will be an opportunity soon to enjoy, to expand on a good news story like this. And I'll leave that to staff, but we are in receipt of another award, and I'll just leave it at that. So we will combine them, I'm sure, with recognition not only to Nezrat, who, as we know, does a fantastic job, but to her team, who also do a wonderful job, and all of those support people that we sometimes don't get to see in the council room. And we're pretty lucky. This council's been pretty lucky to have the alignment of staff that we do. And you know, I sometimes don't get to make a motion or vote on a motion, but I do get a chance when I have control of the microphone to say a few words. So I got that done. Congratulations to all. So it's been moved, it's been seconded. A note of congratulations. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Ryan, were you looking at me to add on here?
I didn't want to impact the vote there. It's the right decision by council. I did want to just pile on a little bit and just for context, there's 444 municipalities in the province. Every one of them is presenting a budget annually, and fewer than 25 municipalities have won this award. Fewer than that have won it 4 years in a row. So it is a testament to Nusrat's good work, along with Mitchell and Tara and Danielle and Natalie and the entire senior leadership team who helps prepare the budget. So just a huge congratulations to the finance team and the whole team.
You know, in years past, we'd have a cake to celebrate. All right, Larry, you want to pull another one?
We haven't voted on that.
Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we
Oh,
did.
did we?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, just the other one is 17.7. It's the resolution in supporting the Architectural Conservancy of Ontario grant funding. I'm just moving a motion to approve as described in the report. That the Council of the Township of Hamilton endorses the Architectural Conservancy to include a $10 million per year provincial to build heritage helping housing grant funding. That's what my motion is.
Okay. And seconded by John. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you, and thank you, Larry. Okay, we're down to 18.1 now, which is establishing Rice Lake Drive Community Safety Zone. Prepared motion reads that bylaw 2026-13 being a bylaw to amend Schedule D to include Rice Lake Drive Community Safety Zone be given first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April of 2026. Mover and the seconder, please. Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Any questions or comments? John, please.
Just a comment, Mayor Jib, just to say that I'm pleased this community safety zone was researched and found that Rice Lake Drive fell into that area. Just pleased that it's going to be in the community safety zone. Congratulations, staff and the committee.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.2, establish tax rates. Prepared motion reads that bylaw 2026-15 being a bylaw to establish the 2026 tax rates be given first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Bruce, seconded by Larry. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.3, execute an agreement with the Kaiser Excavating for Hercock Road. Motion reads that bylaw 2026-16 being a bylaw to execute, being a bylaw to authorize execution of an agreement with the Kaiser Excavating for Hercock Road reconstruction be given first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and seconder, moved by Mark, seconded by Larry. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.4, bylaw 2026-17 regarding AMPS. Motion reads that bylaw 2026-17 being a bylaw to establish administrative monetary penalty system, AMPS, be given first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and a seconder. Moved by Larry, seconded by John. Questions, comments? Question, Mark?
Tim, when will this take place? When will this actually start? Does it start May 1st, June 1st? Or does it start today?
Through Mayor Jib, it would start as soon as the bylaw is passed. We could start implementing it. Because of what this is kind of based on. Right now, it's parking and the pool enclosure bylaw. So parking will want to confirm that everything's transferred from our current ticket ticketing system. We just need to present Eris with this approved bylaw. And then with respect to the pool enclosures, that can start immediately, but we'll be using our discretion just based on this being new information in the pilot for the township. It can, yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Any further questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. 18.5, screening and hearing officer. Prepared motion is that bylaw 2026-18 being a bylaw to appoint screening and hearing officers for the administrative penalty system, AMPS, be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and seconder, moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Is that a question, John? Okay, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. 18.6 regarding parking, motion reads that bylaw 2026-19 being a bylaw to regulate parking within the township of Hamilton and repeal bylaw 2017-13 be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Move and seconder? Moved by Bruce, seconded by Larry. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Pool enclosure, 18.7 on our agenda. Motion reads that bylaw 2026-20 being a bylaw to regulate pool enclosures and repeal bylaw 2019-34 be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and seconder? Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moving along to 24 on our agenda, being a confirmatory bylaw. Motion reads that bylaw 2026-21 being a bylaw to adapt the proceedings of council meeting held on the 21st day of April 2026 and to authorize its execution be given a first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 21st day of April 2026. Mover and seconder? Moved by John, seconded by Bruce. Questions? All those in favor? Carried. 25 on our agenda. Motion reads that council meeting held on April 21st, 2026 be adjourned at 2:08 p.m. Mover and a seconder? Moved by Mark, seconded by Larry. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And thank you everyone that was with us today.